Hello there guys, what is going on? SonOfChelsea back here again for another edition of Let's Talk Chelsea. Hope you're doing well and keeping safe on this Wednesday. More stuff about Haaland. Not going to spend too long speaking about the Borussia Dortmund forward. Just some big pieces that have been written about a potential move. Chelsea in battle with PSG to sign Hakimi apparently, and also shock exits rumoured for Hudson-Odoi and Hakim Ziyech. But before we get into any of that good stuff, I want to ask you guys, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Also hit the like button if you're enjoying the content because it helps out the channel as well. Just before we get into all the transfer stuff and the noise today, of course we're getting ready for the Euros. I'm going to be covering England on the channel, but as well probably in a lot of the videos with the Chelsea transfer news and whatever the news is of that day, I will be covering all of Chelsea players, seeing what they're doing in the Euros. And we've had so many warm-up games in recent days. Chelsea players have actually been faring pretty well for France and Germany. So Olivier Giroud scored 2 for France last night against Bulgaria. Some really classic Olivier Giroud finishes, and Kante played as well. I think that Kante makes Pogba look like a brilliant player. I think playing alongside Pogba really unlocks him, which is a big debate for Man United for years. I think you just need N'Golo Kante. So it's great to see both of them thriving for France ahead of the tournament. They're one of the big favourites once again for this tournament. And with Germany, got a few German players obviously. Timo Werner scored basically with his first touch, and Kai Havertz played really well, assisted. I don't think the goal that I thought he scored, I think it was given as an own goal, but he was exceptional in that first half. But it has to be said that Germany absolutely battered Latvia. It was a 7-1 win. Antonio Rudiger started the game as well. So prep is nearly all done for the Euros. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens this summer. Of course, repping England and seeing how the Chelsea boys do for England. Mason Mount, Ben Chilwell, Reece James, going to be covering that on the channel. Before we get into Hakimi, just 2 pieces on Haaland that I definitely suggest you go and read. Matt Law, this piece in the Telegraph yesterday. Erling Haaland interested in Chelsea move, even if he has to wait another year. And Liam Toomey for the Athletic here. Should Chelsea really sign Erling Haaland? So it's just sort of breaking down the big parts of this deal, the way, structure, what it would mean for the current team, the attack, how it would improve us. Can the deal be done this summer? So please go and read those pieces, links in the description box below. But Fabrizio Romano tweeted last night about this. PSG negotiating with Inter for ACHRAF Hakimi. Talks ongoing around 60 million euros, but Inter Milan want 80 million euros. Chelsea also contacted Hakimi's agent in the last days. There's still nothing agreed. There were some crazy reports as well that shocked a lot of people coming out last night from France, in addition to Chelsea's interest in Hakimi, that apparently Emerson and Christensen would be offered to get Hakimi over the line. Dan McCarthy, who's a great guy, great insider, I've had him on the channel recently, he said, as of now, I see it extremely unlikely that Andreas Christensen will be sold this summer. That seems like a crazy rumour. Both of those players at the same time for Hakimi just doesn't make a lot of sense. Christensen's sort of stock at Chelsea has never been higher in terms of where he is. I know there's that contract sort of debate going on, at least concern. I think Rudiger sort of falls into the same camp, but I think if any centre-back is to leave this summer for Chelsea, I think it's Kurt Zouma. I've said that in the past. I think he's most likely to leave, given the limited amount of game time. I can't see that happening for Christensen. But let's get into Hakimi and sort of this. I can't say I'm fully excited about this because I do think, in terms of the amount of money it would take, if this is true, and it comes from Romano, who's a really good source, if it is true that Chelsea want a right-sided player, I just wonder how that would impact, say, Haaland, say a defensive midfielder, which I think is key this summer. A right-sided player has been brought up in recent weeks as sort of one of those 3 big targets apparently Chelsea are prioritising. We spoke about Adama Traore from Wolves last week. We also spoke about Hakimi last week. So this right-sided player debate, Hakimi is an excellent player. There's no denying that. You look at his numbers, both for Borussia Dortmund and for Inter Milan, of course part of that Serie A winning team under Antonio Conte. He's a frightening player, especially for his age as well, and you could absolutely see how he would upgrade the current team. I'd be very intrigued if we were to sign Hakimi, how the team would look, because I do feel that Reece James is going to be a massive player, an essential player for Chelsea, almost a guaranteed starter I think for a number of years now. And this falls in also to Livramento, one of the brightest young prospects at Cobham at the moment. Apparently AC Milan are interested in him, and it could turn out to be another case where a young player, a young fullback, a bit like Tariq Lamptey, moves on because we sign in his position. I think that I can see it both ways. Firstly, if Chelsea want to be serious in the title challenge next year, if you're signing Hakimi, I think it does improve the team. I think that's a really excellent player to bring in. But there is a knock-on effect to that you could lose an excellent academy product. And this is always the thing I say. I think that if you want us to sign big players, don't get annoyed if we let, you know, good young talents go, because that's the way it works at Chelsea. I would also say with Hakimi, I don't think that I'd spend that much personally on him, because I just don't think, like, if someone was like to me, you can only make 2 big signings this summer, right-sided is not where I'm going personally, in my opinion. It's just not where I'm prioritizing the money. I prioritize the money in defensive midfield and also striker. And, you know, Haaland, the amount of money it's going to take to bring him to Stamford Bridge, if that could potentially happen this summer, you just wonder where the money could be left to sign, say, a defensive midfielder, which is why maybe a second or third choice, or at least a player like Tchouameni for a little bit cheaper than, of course, Declan Rice, could be prioritized. I'm interested to hear your thoughts, because I think Livramento is a really excellent prospect, and I'd be very excited to see him sort of be understudy for Reece James next season, be promoted to the first team, train under Thomas Tuchel. But the rumours of a right-sided player are not going away, and I think it means that either this is a club target, because Hakimi has been on Chelsea's radar for a number of years pre-Tuchel, and maybe Tuchel's insistence on getting a right-sided player means that Hakimi has gone to the front of the queue. Let me know your opinions on Hakimi in the comments below. But the second story, and this kind of ties into the third story, both Hudson-Odoi and Ziyech, 2 of Chelsea wingers, are being linked with moves away. I'd say more reliably here from the Times, claiming once again that Bayern Munich are set to renew their interest in Callum Hudson-Odoi, with Chelsea willing to sell. Chelsea will consider offers for Callum Hudson-Odoi as Bayern Munich renew their interest. Hudson-Odoi was heavily targeted by the German club 2 years ago when Chelsea rejected 4 offers of up to 35 million. Hudson-Odoi, it's a big debate. It's a hostile one at times on social media, as a lot of players are around Hudson-Odoi. I brought this up on Added Time on Saturday when someone asked me about Hudson-Odoi's future. I'm very conflicted on it. I think that at times I feel like he's going to be a big player at Chelsea. Other times I think it wouldn't. I'll say this right now. It would not shock me if by the end of this summer transfer window, Hudson-Odoi is no longer a Chelsea player, or he's on loan somewhere. That would not surprise me. Given the constant noise around Bayern Munich. Everything from reliable reports say that Hudson-Odoi wants to stay at Chelsea, wants to fight for his place. We should see Tuchel hugging him post-match, but when will Hudson-Odoi ever get a run of games in the first team, like Mason Mount, like Reece James, to really prove himself? That's what he needs in the first team, I think, to develop him. I think the constant sort of in and out cameos, he'll play like 3 games in a row and then we'll go like 12 games without getting much look in the first team. The amount of money Chelsea continually invest in their attack to get players, the age bracket of the players in those positions now are a lot younger than they were before. I think I always gave hope to Hudson-Odoi, because I felt that when Willian and Pedro and even Eden Hazard, you know, the rumours linking him to Real Madrid, you felt like there was going to be a refresh in that area, like, and Hudson-Odoi sort of the growing player in that position. So I don't want to rule him out. I think he could still have a massive future at Chelsea, but I just think it's hard. I don't think anyone could give me a certain sort of stance at the moment and say, is he going to make it? Is he not going to make it at Chelsea? Will we sell him for a big profit? We'll have to wait and see. But Bayern Munich coming back in, that's very interesting, and we'll see how, once again, this sort of rumour progresses over the summer. Another player that's continually been linked away that I've spoken about before is Hakim Ziyech. Another player as well, it comes from Italy mainly. Gazzetta dello Sport are reporting that Ziyech's relationship with Thomas Tuchel apparently is broken, and the player is officially on the transfer list. Big claims that haven't been backed up by the likes of Matt Law and Liam Toomey, so take this with a massive pinch of salt. As you can see on screen now, this is sort of the page. It speaks about, I'm sure, Fikayo Tomori's move to AC Milan, which is nearly done. Olivier Giroud has been linked to AC Milan despite the fact that he signed a contract extension. And Ziyech, there's been reports of, I think, Juve, Napoli, AC Milan. Ziyech was playing for Morocco. He came off the bench and he basically assisted with his first touch from a free kick. I spoke about Ziyech the other day. I gave some of your comments on it. I think that we've got to give him a second season. I also just think, and this maybe ties into Hudson-Odoi as well, you know, in the current market we're in, how many clubs are going to be able to pay for these players? Because we know how difficult it is for clubs to buy off Chelsea in terms of what Marina negotiates. She wants to get a profit for a lot of these players. I cannot see, despite the fact that Ziyech wasn't one of the biggest signings we made last summer, I cannot see him being sold after less than 12 months for anything less than what we paid for him, even more. You know, that's the way I think Marina works, and that's the way Chelsea try and sell. They try and sell for a big profit, and that's how we sort of, you know, the Morata and Eden Hazard money sort of really helped our transfer transfer spend last summer. So I think that that's going to be the difficult thing for a lot of these players. Can they actually get a move? And I think, you know, until I hear it from the likes of Matt Law and Liam Toomey and Simon Johnson and others, two reliable reporters, that Ziyech is really unsettled, then I wouldn't believe these reports right now. But I'd wait and see, because I have said in the past that I just think Ziyech at the moment hasn't really settled properly, has had injury issues, but that's also why I think you should give him a second season, because the talent is absolutely there for him to thrive at Chelsea. Let me know your opinions on Ziyech and these reports coming out from Italy in the comments below. But that is it for today's edition of Let's Talk Chelsea. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch it. If you did enjoy it, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Follow me on Twitter at SonOfChelsea. Have a great day, and I'll see you again.